we find ourselves on the eve of our first game of our third season after 2 successive promotions. As it stands, we haven't had too much in the way of transfers. I've had a little bit of a struggle, to be quite honest, because we're kind of stuck in that little no man's land that you do reach in these sort of saves, where you've had kind of a jump in the quality of player I need, but the reputation of the team hasn't quite matched. So I'm having to try and be clever, which is a massive struggle for me most of the times, because I'm an absolute pleb. So we haven't done a lot of transfers as it is at the moment. Sat 16th of Feb. We've got our first game of the season, which is against Nagoya Grampus, who are one of the stronger teams in the division. Before we jump into the episode in its entirety though, if you do me a favour, like, subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. It really will help. If you've came from one of the experiment videos, throw it down there and do you know what? I'll give you a little cheeky thumbs up, because it's about as much as I can do, but it's nice to know where you've came from. As it stands, the season preview has us, we're more likely to be safe than Thespa, but also not very likely at all. We're 500 to 1, with the next team ahead of ourselves being Albirex on 250 to 1. If we look at our best players against the rest of the league, we've got Mark Clark towards the bottom, who's one of our players that we'd lent into from the other kind of granted nations. He's from Indonesia, with Dutch as well, I believe. Yeah, he's really strong centre mid. And our best player is Shane Patinama, who is of similar kind of origins, Indonesian with Dutch secondary nation. He's a really, really strong left wing back. We are granted in this division though, however, 5 foreign players in a game instead of 4, so we have an extra slot there. But they want us to have 4 players trained at club instead of 2, as it was in the previous divisions, so we're really struggling on that front at the moment. I've got a bunch of chaps in on loan as it stands. The one I'm really looking at is this chap, who might take one of those foreign slots. He's called Simon Alexander Santos Lingbu. Don't know if it's pronounced that way. Almost certainly isn't. He's a Norwegian-Philippine situation. Philippines isn't one of the nations which we can class as homegrown. Just to refresh you on that, if my head isn't in the way when it shows you, which it probably is, Thailand, Vietnam, Myanmar, Cambodia, Singapore, Indonesia, and Malaysia. We've had a little bit of usage out of those, but not too much, unfortunately. So I'm going to hop you through. We'll see where we are at the end of the transfer window, and if I have managed to work some wonders. Unfortunately, this first game did see us lose 2-0. Goals from Watai and Kasper Juncker, who I assume is one of their foreign players. Yes, he's a Danish striker. Pretty good team. We were kind of expecting to not pick up points there. Realistically, what we're looking for this season is just kind of use our fingernails and just hold on. But that's been our plan for the last 2 seasons, and we've finished second both times, so anything can happen with this team and this monstrosity of a formation. The signings in total, we've loaned out, if we just start off there, we've loaned out, no one has told me how to pronounce this. It's 3 vowels. Ando. I don't even know where to start. Owie. Oi. Ando. This chap's gone out on loan. I did loan him out before realising about the 4 homegrown players. So when his loan expires, I'll probably bring him back, to be quite honest. Might even look at doing so in the break, potentially. We have got, as I said, 5 foreign players. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just going to sign ones that can overlap in the position. So I've signed Lilo Guarneri, who's from MVV Maastricht. He's an Italian-Belgian goalkeeper. Looks pretty decent, and he's really good challenge for Shalamov Trenkov. He wants to be a first choice keeper, as does Trenkov. So neither of them are expecting to play all the games, but I'm probably going to have a bit of an issue between both of them wanting to play at least half, which obviously isn't possible. So we'll have to see where we are at that point, see if some of them start struggling. We'll do a bit of rotation. We've signed Takashi Abe from Kyoto Sanga for 105k, potentially rising to 140. Looks pretty decent, 5'11", good jumping reach, good pace on him as a left-footed centre-back. His bravery of 4 isn't ideal, but overall pretty good player. We've also signed Elias Dolar, who is Swedish and Thai, so he again is another homegrown player. He's came into ourselves for 150k from Sufanburi, a Thai team, not sure. He looks pretty decent as well, 6'5", this chap, not quite as fast. Jumping reach is the same as the chap who was 5'11", ridiculously, but notably stronger, decent heading as well. Should do a good job for us. Potential value of double that what we spent for him. We've also signed that Lingber. He's came into us 3.6 grand a week. He is being paid, unfortunately. He is classed as one of our foreign players, but he's came into the club. From the 4 games we've played with him so far, he's got 3 assists. So he's doing a pretty decent job for us there. And finally, we've also signed Yasuhiro Kimura, another centre-back. 5'10" this time. Really good aggression and tackling. He can play centre defensive mid, which we're not using as the team, so I can push him forward to be the defensive centre mid if needs be. Or, where I'm thinking of playing him, is potentially like a libero, or that kind of more aggressive of the centre backs. Might even just be like a no nonsense centre back, just running at people aggressively and tackling them. I'm just going to make use of those 2 stats. So he's a pretty good player. He's came into us for 200k from, where did we sign him from? Sorry, I'm giving you all epilepsy. Toshigi, I think that was pronounced. Definitely isn't, but it might be. He's valued potentially up to £1 million. Potential standard for this league, and he's a good player for the division below, which is what we're doing. I'm going with the Luton rules at the moment, using quite a bit of the money that we've got to build up a team that is definitely strong enough to win the division should we get relegated. That's the plan. Talking of divisions and how we're going in this one, we are, as it stands, 7 games deep in the league. So after the Nagoya Grampus loss, we then played Thespa, who's the other team that's potential to go down with us, the weakest team in the division. We beat them 1-0 thanks to an own goal from their own player. Then playing Kashima Antlers, who we've played in the series already a few seasons back in the cup. They beat us 2-0, unfortunately. Things did pick up, however, in March. 3-1 win against Vissel Kobe, who are one of the stronger teams in the division. A 2-1 win in the cup against Kawasaki Frontale. A 2-2 draw against Hiroshima. And most recently in the league, a 3-2 win against Consadole Sapporo. So as you can see, a perfectly unbeaten month. Almost a perfect month in the league. We have played 2 rounds in the cup here as well. First of which was our home fixture against Albirex Niigata, where we have managed to pick up a 1-0 win. Pretty decent return. Leaves us on to the second leg, where, as you can see, we've picked up another 1-0 win. Eagle Gabriel getting the goal this time, a relatively comfortable result for us, but we've beaten the team who are one of the weaker teams in the top tier as well. But dispatching the team, getting us through to the second round of the cup, which is where we're going to be facing Urawa Red Diamonds. So close. We're going to be playing those 3 times in 4 games as well. So it's going to be a relatively busy month for us. So I'm going to jump forward a little bit now. We'll see where we are at that point. If we do manage to get past Red Diamonds, and if our league form can continue. There we go. Didn't realise that was a tongue twister. Apparently it is. It's at this point, mid to late April, I've properly lent into foreign players now. I've signed Kim Yong-hwan as a little bit of a backup for us, because I'm thinking, you know what, we've got 5 slots in the team where foreign players can play. So what's the point in having only 5 foreign players? So I've signed another foreign right back, who when Simon's not playing, when he's not playing, we can bring in Kim Yong-hwan, which is what I'm planning to do so. So if we have a little look at this chap, pretty decent, relatively good pace on him. He's a 31-year-old, can play left back if we needed to, but ideally it's just that kind of right wing back cover and a not vastly expensive wage. We've also got another centre attacking mid. He isn't one that's going to replace in potentially another foreign player, but if he comes in, we can shuffle someone out that's the game plan. But Ivan Ledezma has came in, 29-year-old Chilean centre attacking mid, can play centre mid, can play striker if we need him to, but ideally a centre attacking mid. 1.9k wages, pretty decent player, a good player for our division. He's came in better than Pedro Sanchez. Who's that, I hear you ask? Is the other guy signed? Another free transfer. He is more leaning towards a striker, probably kind of more the secondary role. But again, it wasn't vastly expensive wages. 1.7k is manageable for ourselves. We've got quite a bit of money left at the moment, actually. 200 grand still to spend and another 9k in the wage budget. So I'm thinking, you know what? I'm just going to bring people in. Just people. And hopefully they're good at doing what they're supposed to do. Talking about being good at doing what we're supposed to do, let's have a little look at what the actual team have been up to. We have carried on our form in the league with a 3-0 win against Urawa Red Diamonds. A 2-1 win then follows that up against Osaka. Unfortunately, a 3-2 loss is then against Kashiwa Reysol, but we pull it back in the league again with a win against Kyoto Sanga, 3-1. Suzuki getting a brace for us there. Pretty decent return. Hendrick's getting in some of the goals here as well, if you're seeing, which is I'm not unhappy about. Gabriel's getting a few as well, so goals are being spread about a bit. We'll have a little look to see what we've been doing in the cup. So in the second round, our home fixture, we've gone in a 0-0, unfortunately, against Red Diamond, so we haven't managed to kind of mirror what we managed to do so just after this game in the league. But not a bad statement for us. Just means that we need to do it at their ground, which we emphatically did not do. We just weren't good. We just didn't turn up. They battered us on XG, battered us on stats. Didn't help that we lost Arbe in the 40th minute after he got booked 2 minutes prior to that. But we were already 1-0 down at that point and we just didn't look like we were at the races, unfortunately. So we are out with a J.League Cup. But it does leave League, Cup, form, etc. showing there, so it's not bad by any means. We're actually ridiculously in third place. I don't know why this is happening. I don't know how it's happening. And as I've said a few seasons ago, I'm scared. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in this red section. Like, that's great. But why am I third? Please, stop it. We're back now just before the kind of part season break. We've got 12 league games to update you on now. So I'm going to do it in 2 blocks of 6 because I don't think I can show you 6 either without you being able to actually see the information. So to kick off, a 1-1 draw away from home against Belmar. We did go in at half-time winning, but it was from a penalty. So a point to point, that's the main thing. Followed that up with a late win in courtesy of Ledezma against Fukuoka. A 3-3 draw against FC Tokyo, who at that point and potentially still are top of the league, one of the strongest teams this season. 2 late-ish goals from them as well to pull it back. We did quite well in that game. A 1-1 draw then against Albirex Nagata. We've already played them a few times in the cup. Again, point to point. I'm just happy that we're not going down. It looks like at this rate. Unfortunately, though, I'm not happy about all of these goddamn injuries. We had a 2-1 loss, both goals in injury time in both halves for Osaka, but 3 separate injuries from players that are in and around the first team. And the last of this bunch, a full 1 loss at home against F. Marinos. I mean, it's not ideal, but one of the stronger teams in the division. There's a good 4 or 5 teams that are really quite strong. Moving into the second group, we've got Yokohama again, but it's the other one, but we beat them this time. So we 1-1 for Yokohama's, a 2-0 win then, a 1-1 draw following that against Vissel Kobe. That means we've got a win and a loss against them. Again, one of the strongest teams in the division, the team that actually won the league this year in real life. A 3-2 win then against Shimizu, late goal for us, a few bookings, but nothing too bad where it comes to injuries. A 2-1 win then, getting us a double against Thespa, who were the other weakest team in the division, or at least according to current ability. And yes, a 4-1 win away against Nagoya Grampus, which is a brilliant result, getting our own back on the team that beat us on the opening day of the season. But the biggest issue, that injury to Patinama. Not happy about that. So there's a bit of question mark there as to what we've got. We do have other players who can play, but he was, as you said, one of our best players. And the most recent game, a 4-1 loss, unfortunately away from home against Kashima Antlers. Another one of those strong teams. And there we have it. Focusing on the league, that's what the plan was. Unfortunately, knocked out in both cups by kind of top league opposition, so that's not the worst, not ideal. They wanted us to be competitive in both. We've been knocked out in the second round in both, which I don't think constitutes being competitive. They also wanted me to finish in the relegation playoffs. I'm currently in the potential continental competition places, so I'm sure we can take a pinch of salt with the sadness that they're going to have here. We're going to come back at the end of the season. You're going to see what I've been up to, see if we manage to hold on to these little green dots. I hope you join us there in that next episode. I hope you've enjoyed this one as well. As I mentioned earlier, like, subscribe, it's greatly appreciated. Let me know what you're thinking about this new format. If there's anything that we can do to kind of tart it up a bit as well, that would be beautiful stuff. And thank you very much for your time.